Hello Virgo, welcome to your January 2026 reading. This is the Guidance Corner. My name's Christelle. Thank you so much for being here. How are you going, Virgo? How are these energies, impacting you? How are you traveling with them? I find, it's been a bit tough, hasn't it, these last couple of months? I was called to, I always sit with your energy. And as I shuffle the cards and connect. And I was drawn this month with these January readings to not look at these cards because they all have different images on them. And they're beautiful images. And I was drawn to, as I shuffle, not to look. And then as I place them down, the top card will have meaning for you. And Virgo, I feel like I need to kind of say to you, absorb. Absorb this energy from this card, which is relaxation, being in the now. There's a real sense here of just being. Absorb how far you've come. There's a sense here, Virgo, take your time in whatever you're doing. Allow yourself to be in that moment, because I think there's going to be a lot of pockets of peace that you can find through the month of January if you so choose. And, that's a message coming through quite loudly from Spirit, because it's always if we choose, and I think 2026 is going to be an interesting year that way. I haven't done it yet, but I've been getting the message to journal about 2026 and get the messages from Spirit and then do a little video on them. I don't know if that'll happen or not, but sometimes they make me mention things on these videos to kind of make me to really to almost to show me that, we really want you to do this. So stay tuned for that, because I think it is something I'm going to do. Because I think 2026 is going to be a year where we get to decide to a certain extent, because we're always in co-creation with Spirit in this, in this life, this reality. But I think we do get to choose, how do we want to experience things? And I'm being very mindful when I talk, Virgo, because I'm being very mindful that I get the exact messages and words that Spirit wants me to say. Because there's going to be a sense of being mindful about what we choose. We can do things with patience, or we can do things in frustration. We can come at a situation with love, or we can come at a situation with resentment, anger, disappointment. Thank you, Spirit. Spirit even said trust. So that's interesting. I don't often talk about trust, but it's coming up in your reading. So there's a sense maybe trusting, I'm looking at her because this is about her. Whether you're a man or a woman, it doesn't matter. It's just the energy. But I'm looking at this person, and I feel that she does trust. I feel that she does trust herself. She does trust the universe. She does trust the process of life to evolve and unravel as it needs to. But I do feel that within that trust, she's also deciding how she's going to experience these things. Oh, I'm so interested now, Virgo, to see what your reading's about, because I feel like I could do a half an hour reading just on this card. So many messages coming through. Thank you, Spirit. But there is a time delay, and there's a sense here that you know, that you're going to be receiving a lot of messages, and at the time they might not make sense, but if you can wait patiently, if you pause in the moment, and as humans that is so hard for us to do, but if you pause in the moment, the next moment will reveal itself. Oh, I like that. If you pause in the moment, the next moment will reveal itself. Pause in the moment, the next moment will reveal itself. I'm actually going to call your video that. Okay. So Spirit saying, as much as I really want to stay on this card, there's more messages. Oh, I love that. Here's Six of Wands. There's success in this moment. There's success in a decision. There's, I want to say, a coming home almost. And it's not a coming home. Thank you, Spirit. Sorry, Spirit's just stopped me. They want those. It's not a coming home. I mean, it could be to a physical place, but it's a real sense of coming home to yourself. And I wonder if a lot of you in these pauses are going to go, oh, I forgot what it was like just to be me. Rituals. I'm getting called to do rituals. Thank you, Spirit. I don't even remember. This is your last card, Spirit saying. I don't even remember half of them, of what I did, but I'm being called to do rituals again. And not just to go back to the rituals that I did, but to actually find new rituals that actually mean something to me today. I think, Virgo, I think 2026 is going to be really a time of really finding our footing, a time of finding what really works for us. Thank you, Spirit. Spirit said, look, we even left you a bit of space so you could put the cards there. They know how pedantic I am with my cards. So let's run through your cards. We have the Six of Wands. We have the Page of Cups, the Knight of Cups. We have the Five of Wands. This card has actually come out quite a bit in January. We have the Magician, the Nine of Pentacles, the Ten of Wands. We have Justice, and we have Temperance. And I love Temperance with this energy here. Thank you, Spirit. We're actually going to, oh, sorry. And then we have number 12. Listen to inner guidance. Wisdom dwells within. Do you know, that is so much this energy here. We have 15. Ground yourself. Be in your body. Again, this card has come out quite a bit. We have 22. Learn from past mistakes. Grow into greater wholeness. And we have 28, release what isn't working, let go and live beyond. Do you know, this is very much the energy of 2026, Virgo. Okay, and it starts off in January for you. So I wanted to come to these two energies just in conjunction with what I was saying with this card about being in the moment. So that phrase was, if you pause in the moment, the next moment will reveal itself. And there's a decision that you're making. With this Justice card, I'm seeing her as making a really decisive decision. I don't often get that with the Justice. But here it's like, you know, a little bit the judgment as well. You know, you're making a judgment call. It's really decisive. She's really aligned in her knowing. You know, perfectly balanced. she has the scales, past and future, I'm seeing for you. Again, not something I've seen before, I don't think, in this Justice card, but I'm almost seeing there's a balance between your past and your future. And I'm wondering if that's that you know you can't operate in either. We cannot do anything about our past. And we can take steps towards our future, but it doesn't mean that's the way it's going to happen. And, you know, this is being in the moment, being in the present. In the present moment, you can take action. In the past, you can't, and in the future, you can't. And that's coming through so strongly. And there's a sense with this Temperance card, Virgo, there's a sense that you're pretty much going, right, in this moment, all I can do is attempt. You know, she's just dipping her toes in the water. You know, she hasn't just jumped straight in. There's caution with this card. I'm seeing this card as a more elevated, a more patient, a more grounded version of the Fool. You know, there are those times where the universe just asks us to take that leap of faith when we just don't know what we're leaping into. This is not this card. I do see her as your guardian angel, your guides, your higher self, guiding you towards trying something. With the Justice here as well, you know, Spirit's telling me there's going to be trial and error. And I've been saying for 2026 is going to be, it's a 1 year that we're working. It's going to be a trial and error. We've taken down our foundations. And now what are we building anew? But in order to build anew in alignment with who you have become, Virgo, this alignment, there's a sense that you really need to kind of try. You know, does this fit? Does that fit? And in these moments of pausing, there's almost a sense that you'll kind of come into a knowing of where your heart is pulling you. Because there is turmoil. And I mean, we're, you know, come February the 17th, we're entering a fire horse year. You know, it's fast paced. It's almost like Spirit saying, Virgo, use this time to figure yourself out. Almost before the fire horse year comes in. You know, you have a knight, but this horse is a water horse, not a fire horse. This horse is not the slowest knight, okay? The Knight of Cups is not the slowest knight, but it's the second slowest. And it moves forward with its heart on its sleeve. And so when we move through life completely open, it makes us a little vulnerable. So we move just that little bit slower, just that little bit more tentative. And I'm getting that tentative kind of vibe with the Temperance card. It's almost like temper everything. What do I mean by that? It's almost like, can you bring it back a notch? Okay, so there's a sense here with this energy. Can you bring the fieriness of the wands back a little bit to a bit more watery, a little bit more malleable, a little bit more of a fluid energy? Because fire is required. This fire energy is not bad. It is required. But used incorrectly, leads to burnout, leads to, we put too much on our plate. We make decisions sometimes with too much haste, too much fire behind us. Leaves us a little bit burdened. We can make life hard for ourselves. Virgo, I'm an Aries sun sign, and this is, I'm kind of getting that Aries energy. Aries can be so enthusiastic. They're ruled by Mars, like a fire planet. It's not fire planet, but it's hot, it's red, and it's so close to the sun. And they've got passion and fire that runs through their veins, and that makes them so enthusiastic, that makes them vibrant, that helps them pick themselves up after they fall. But it can make them a little bit quick to react, a little bit quick to anger, a little bit quick to, they're impulsive. And sometimes that can work in their favor when there's a little bit of alignment, when there's a little bit of a calm thought process behind it. But sometimes they can find themselves just beating their head against a brick wall, and it hurts. It's not productive. And Virgo, I'm kind of getting that with you. I'm getting that there might be this fiery energy that you tap into in January. Maybe you have Aries somewhere in your chart. Maybe go and have a look at what house that falls in, to kind of know maybe where is this coming from, because this is a general reading, so it might be different for all of you. But you're an air sign, and when the fire comes in, air enables fire to run. It's almost like I'm getting, with these cups. I'm noticing his cup here, temperance, this water here, almost getting a sign of, let your air create ripples in the water. Okay? Allow it to move the water, even to murky it up a little bit, and then sit back and watch what sediment falls, because that will help you see what you need to shift. In the fire, you're just going to create this fireball energy, and it's not, it's going to move you. And I'm wondering if that's why you really want to tap into the fire energy, because you just want to get to the other side. So yes, this fireball energy is going to move you, but in what direction? Because I'm really getting the feeling that you get to choose in January. You get to choose how you experience life. Thank you, Spirit. I was going to say where life leads you, but it's almost like how life leads you. Do you allow it to lead you? I keep getting drawn back to this Aries energy. Aries is not a sign that is easily led. It can be if the cause ignites its passion, then it will follow the cause. But they can be a little bit single-minded. Thank you, Spirit. The energy can be very single-minded in the direction and the way it has to do something. The water, even if you ripple it up, even if it swirls and it creates rips like it does in the ocean. It creates little whirlpools, and it might not be inviting to jump in. You might not want to jump in once you've, you know, put your air through the water and created this movement, these rips or these whirlpools or things like that. But I tell you what, the water energy will allow you to sit back and look at it. The fire energy won't. It'll consume you. And I think the reason why this fire energy thank you Spirit, has the potential to dominate your month of January is because the first fire card out, the first fire energy out is the Six of Wands, and it is very enticing. It is that beautiful positive energy of the fire, because every element, every card has its positives and its negatives. You know, it can play out in a really helpful way or in a detrimental way, and Virgo, this month you get to decide. But there's this sense that you've had a victory over something. There's a sense that this is almost like the after of an action that you have taken. Okay, so there's an action that you've taken, there's something that you've decided, there's something that you've done, and there's real success behind it. And it took fire energy to do it. So I don't know if it's something that's been slowly simmering, something that maybe you were not in alignment with or not balanced. There was a lot of, because sometimes with this Temperance I see a lot of arming and ahhing. And a choice was made. You made a choice. And there's a sense that, now what? And I think it took courage. And it took, what's the word I'm trying to find? It was gutsy. Thank you, Spirit. Gutsy is the perfect word. It took guts. And you know the fire signs, they've got guts. You know, I'll come back to Aries because that's just, maybe, do you know what, Virgo, I'm going to say Aries is so predominant. And I even checked with Spirit and I said, oh, Spirit, why? I'm like, because I'm a Sun Aries. I'm like, you know what? Why is Aries? Is this me putting myself in the reading? And they went, no, that's just really the energy. And they're giving it to me as Aries because I understand that energy so well. I've lived that energy for the last 50 years with its positives and its negatives. Sometimes I've used that fire energy wisely, and other times I've almost let it use me. And there's a massive difference, Virgo. And so you're feeling good with this fire energy. You're feeling like, oh, I can harness this. And I'm wondering if it's the first time that you've really grabbed hold of this fire energy and really used it. I'm wondering if it's woken something deep within you. I'm looking at this magician, you know, and I'm just feeling like the fireball has opened something up in him and made him go, you know what, I can create. I can manifest my life. And there's a sense here of feeling quite powerful. And that's why I'm so glad, Virgo, that you've got justice, but then you've got temperance. because justice can feel quite powerful when you're the one with the sword and you can cut away what you want. There's a sense of power behind that. And the Temperance is here to remind you that power can be wielded two ways. And Spirit said every shadow, every way in between. But, you know, you can go to two different extremes. And I think that's why this energy is so important. Come back to you. Look at the ripples that you're forming. Are they taking you in the direction that you want to go? Because sometimes, you know, with wind and fire, sometimes the fire's taken off in a direction that, oh, I actually didn't want it to go that way. I didn't want it to burn down that. I was aiming to burn down this, you know. So all the elements, you know, they have their power behind it. But you've tapped into it in such a beautiful way with this Six of Wands. And I feel that that almost sets you on this path of, it's almost like, Virgo, you're like, quick, while I'm still feeling this way, what other thing can I, like, I want to say fireball through or ram through or, you know, just burn off. And I said to Spirit, oh, am I using the right words? And Spirit goes, oh, they totally know what you're saying. So this is very clear to you, Virgo. And Spirit just said to me, if it's not, go listen to the Aries reading. I did the Aries reading days and days ago, so I don't even remember it. But there must be something in there for you, so go and listen to it. But there's a sense here of quick. I've got this energy inside of me. I can feel it's going to dissipate, and it needs to dissipate. Because this comes after. So it does tell me that the fire, Virgo, is going to run away from a few of you. And I'm really seeing in your reading the energies of the cards in a certain way. So with this Ten of Wands, I'm seeing it in its detriment and I'm seeing it in its advantages. So some of you using this wisely and not allowing these fireballs to get away from you, you actually accomplish a lot. You think that doing this sitting, contemplating, being in the moment so the next moment can reveal itself, you think this is wasted time, especially when you're feeling this fire energy. This is really difficult to do. But this moves you forward so fast. Because once we're aligned, once we're sure, things just go boom, 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 boom. And so I feel a lot of you have the potential to really accomplish a lot in just January. And that sets you up. This is a 1. And we're working a 1 year in 2026. So I think whatever you do in January sets you up for the year. Now that's Spirit saying that's not to burden you. But it's almost like to get you to focus, because this fire energy, it's difficult to focus, or our focus might be so linear that we don't really realize all the ripples that we're causing. But these ripples are all like these little butterfly effects, and they compound. And they have far-reaching effects, more so than sometimes what we think. Especially if we are just moving, we're just going to add more fuel to this fire so we can keep going. We can keep burning through things. We can just get things done. But that, with this 10 of Wands, can lead to burnout. So thank you, Spirit, for bringing me back. So like I was going to say before I went too far down on a tangent, there's this sense that do in January how you want the rest of the year to be reflected. January is a 1 month. 2026 is a 1 year. There's almost like you're going to get a vision in January of how your year could be. And there's a lot of healing, Virgo, that can come out of January for you. And then that's how you can embrace, 2026. Because I want you to have a look at, in between this fire energy, I want you to have a look at your cards. They are beautiful. They are really, really beautiful. But there is something that stands in the way. And this is you. This is not other people. Other people are involved, but this is you fighting you. This is you fighting others. And sometimes we need to, but Spirit's saying we don't need to fight. We almost need to make a choice and let go. And there's a sense here that you've got to learn from past mistakes and release what isn't working. Very meaningful. Because once we do that, this dissipates. This is so important. Taking time out. Seeing how you're going. Letting go of your past mistakes, releasing what isn't working will help bring you to this peaceful place. And it's funny because with this Magician, all I see is that Ace of Cups. And I feel like you've got that Ace of Cups 3 times. The Page has accepted the Ace of Cups, doesn't know what to do with it yet. But as it gets curious and as it begins to unfold what could be with this Ace of Cups, it's actually quite surprising. It's a pleasant surprise, but it's something, because it's a fish in a cup, it's something that you're not expecting. That's why being in the moment reveals the next moment. Because we can't see all the possibilities that are there for us. And this Page of Cups is here to say, yes, definitely. And I love how you've got the Page and then the Knight in this reading, and then the Magician. Look at the Knight is walking directly to the Magician. Allow yourself to walk through this energy. Feel it. Understand where it's coming from. This can be very fear-driven. But for a lot of you, I just feel like you just want to make the most of this fire energy before it burns out. But allow it to burn out. It will reignite. But without the burden, it'll make you productive without the burnout. So this Page of Cups, looking at this cup and going, I know there's so much potential. And for some of you, you're looking at your life and going, I know my life has so much potential. I have so much potential. And there's contemplation in this. I love these 2 cards together, and you've got Temperance, because I feel that these 2 cards are the minor arcana of this Temperance card. They've each got a cup, and sometimes they're contemplating, they're imagining, they're curious about what could be. And they take that curiosity, they take that inspiration and they act on it. But this is a slow moving night. So it might take a few steps and then it might come back to the page and go, okay, like, what did that feel like? Where am I now? Did it feel aligned? There can be discomfort in it, but being in alignment can feel uncomfortable. Sometimes it's discomfort because, yeah, no, do you know what? That's not quite right. Give yourself the time to figure out which one it is. It's like this Temperance, a little bit in this cup, a little bit in that cup, testing the water. That's what will keep your fire alive without you creating these fireballs. Because it's fire energy that is harnessed in a very thoughtful way. And this night then heads into the Magician. Okay then, I've been taking these steps. What is my outer world looking like? And this takes time. This takes time because, like I said earlier to you, Virgo, I feel like this is your January reading, but it can be almost like an overall energy for your year, 2026. And I mean, look, the Magician is a 1 and you've got the 9 of Pentacles beside it. 2025, we finished working a 9 year. So there's almost a sense in 2026, use the information that you gained in 2025. When we were working this 9 year, what did you release? What did you want to release but didn't? What did you want to see grow but couldn't? Because remember where it's timing. It was probably quite difficult for most of us to build things in 2025 because it was a year of letting go. We were also working the snake year. I can't remember what element, but I think it was an earth snake, which Pentacles are the earth. And this card is very befitting for last year. Some of you might have actually reached a stage where, you know, you had a little bit more money, you had a little bit more prosperity. But there's almost a sense this is not the 10. So the 10 of Pentacles is that longevity. Like this is abundance that comes in that has legacy and longevity. The 9, we're still working towards that. But the Magician comes first, which tells me, Virgo, you cannot do 2026 the same way you did 2025 because the Magician comes first. So you need to be who you are in this moment, who you are standing here today with everything, how 2025 changed you, and you create from there. But there is a sense that allow 2025 to guide you, and this is where harnessing that fire gives you the courage to do that. But not if you're going to move swiftly, because this takes time. It's almost like the Magician and the Page are saying, I know I'm going to create. I'm going to take this moment to see what do I want to create. Not out of fear, not out of survival, not out of necessity, not out of the past. But right now, what do I want to create? And then this Knight of Cups and this 9 of Pentacles is saying, okay, I let go of a few things in 2025. I'm not going to pick them up again in 2026. The way I did things in 2025 is not the way I'm going to do things in 2026. And there's a sense that that is very mindful. But you do need to tap into that energy of last year in order for it to guide you. It's almost like what Justice is saying. How I was saying about the past and the future, you can't operate in either. You can only sit in your present moment. But you can use those to help center you. It's like, what did you let go of the past, in the past? Where is your vision for the future? And one will guide you as to not what to do, to what you don't want to do, and one will guide you to what you do want to do. You know, the past is the lesson. The past is the wisdom. And the future is the inspiration. It is the courage. And it's knowing how to use each one of those. And the only way you can use each one of those, Virgo, is to be in the moment and to be as grounded and as peaceful as you can. You know, and directly under, I'm looking at this card. Be grounded. You know, and be grounded. I love the fieriness of this, you know, the root chakra energy. Be in your body. Your body will guide you, your aches and pains. What are you putting in your body? What are you doing to your body? Is your body at rest, in a state of peacefulness as much as possible? Or is it more in this adrenaline-driven anxiety and stress more often? Ground, ground, ground. You know, I love this. It's a 15, which is a 6. And Spirit's just drawn me back to this 6 of Wands. When you ground yourself, you access the fire energy in its full potential. But not this way. This way. The way that it guides you forward. The way that it gives you courage, the way that it reminds you of your passions, it reminds you of your spark, it reminds you of your calling or your purpose. How do you want to live? Grounding is so important. I'm going to do some videos on grounding because I'm getting, and a lot of people have had this grounding card on, we need to be grounded in 2026. You know, 2026 come February the 17th is a fire horse year. You know, that the horses gallop, the horses are fast moving and they're free. You know, a horse symbolizes freedom. Well, I don't know if that's what it symbolizes really, but that's when I imagine the horse, I imagine it free. You know, the mane and the tail, you know, blowing in the wind as it gallops forward at the speed that it chooses. But that can also mean that, you know, can drag you through terrain that you don't want to go through, kicking and screaming, or, you know, that you're not meant to go through maybe. So grounding is going to be a really, really important practice. And so is listening to your inner guidance. Wisdom dwells within. And I feel that that is really this Justice card, this wise energy of looking at your past, looking at where you want to be in your future, and allowing that to guide you to be centered. The more centered you can be in January, the more centered I think you'll be throughout the year. This energy, you know, we're not going to move into perfect peace that would defeat the purpose of us being on this earth. You know, this it's to experience things. And if you take all the negative out, the positive loses its meaning. But we still get to choose how we think and feel about something. There's wisdom as well when you look at your past. Extract that wisdom, because I think, Virgo, it's going to be so helpful, because there's a lot of lessons learnt. You've learnt those lessons, but if you don't extract the wisdom from them, so we are not supposed to carry the memory, the energy of those lessons. We are supposed to extract the wisdom of those lessons, and that's what we carry through with us. And that's how experiences don't traumatize us, because we become who we are. You know, it's almost like we're forged in the fire, but we can't stay in the fire. Once we're forged, we need to step out and let's embrace life with this new version of ourselves. Grow into greater wholeness. And I'm feeling that when you grow into greater wisdom, you naturally grow into greater wholeness. And you can better see what you need to release. You better see what isn't working. And there's less emotion attached to it, because there's this deep sense of knowing. Now, I want to point out this is 28. This comes down to a 10 and it comes back to a 1. You know, we're working a 1 year next year. I think that's going to be a year of trial and error, but we can't get caught in the just trying things when we see that, you know what, this is not quite right. We've got to be able to pivot. We've got to be able to let it go and start afresh, or build on it in a different way. It's going to be very, very meaningful. Okay, let's have a look at your final letting go messages. Spirit says there's just one. Oh, look at that. In the garden. Go out in nature. Virgo, do things that makes you happy. Not because there's anybody watching or there's anybody there. You know, she's got flowers in her hair. She's put her makeup on and a pretty dress. There's nobody there. She's not trying to impress anybody. She has done this for herself. Just love of self. Do what lights you up. That's very much like your initial let go card, where she was just by the water, just chilling out and refocusing on her. This is the rituals that I spoke about in the beginning of the reading. You know, take a shower that's meaningful. Take a bath. Take a pause, but make it meaningful to you. The card says, dismiss thoughts that don't lead to the garden of infinite possibilities. That's so true. You know, and that's this page of cups. He doesn't know it all. He can't even grasp it all yet, but he knows that, because this cup of fulfillment, this Ace of Cups, a gift from the universe that leads to fulfillment, it is fulfilling. You can't imagine all the possibilities that this could be. And there's a sense of don't limit yourself. The minute you find yourself too blinkered off, too pedantic is the word that's coming to me, which is quite interesting, too regimented, just stop. Know that you've got your blinkers on and you're blocking a lot of these possibilities that are available to you. Wow, Virgo, Wow, big, big messages for January, but that carry through all of 2026. I'm going to leave it there for you. I hope these messages were helpful. Take care, beautiful souls. Sending you much love and light, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.